Welcome everybody to the first Post-Digital e-commerce automation summit presented by Celigo in partnership with Slalom, Blue Banyan, Titan Brands, Body Art Alliance, and Oz Naturals. We are excited to have several hundred people join us here from across the globe, and we have a lot of really interesting and exciting things to share with you today. So to answer a quick question that people have asked, why is this called the Post-Digital E-commerce Automation Summit? What we have seen is that these last few years have been unprecedented in terms of e-commerce channels opening up and essentially the digital transformation happening. And what we have noticed is that we are hitting a distinct phase in which e-commerce is so ubiquitous, and there's so much saturation in the market that companies are finding now new innovative ways to stay ahead of the competition and thrive, or survive in these upcoming years. And there are several things we're going to be talking about. The most basic level is automation, but how do you achieve automation at scale? How do you leverage data to succeed? And we brought you some experts to discuss this. So let's go ahead and start with our first presentation. There we go. Okay, so our keynote today is thriving in the world of post-digital e-commerce. It's brought to us by our friends here at Slalom. Slalom is a global consulting firm that focuses on strategy, technology, and business transformation, and one of the big Celigo partners. So with us is Hans Deli. He's the Senior Director of Technology Strategy at Slalom. Hans has over 2 decades of experience defining the vision and driving the strategy and execution for digital platforms, complex IT initiatives, enterprise solutions, and business strategy, with globally diverse cross-industry experience, including telecommunications, cable, media, and financial services, high-tech, and international development. And with Hans is Shelley King. She's the Enterprise Transformation Executive for Technology Strategy at Slalom. Shelley is a repeat entrepreneur who drives global growth and transformation for Fortune 100 companies and brands by building platforms, products, technology services, and operating in business models. She has a deep technology background with breadth across financial services, technology, consumer packaged goods, cannabis, retail, food and beverage, media communications, and entertainment. So they are experts in what they're about to share, and we are very honored to have them. So take it away, folks.
Thank you, Rico. Good morning, everybody. Shelley and I want to thank the Celigo team for inviting us to this conversation. We're excited about Slalom's partnership with Celigo, where we help organizations like yourselves to integrate and automate their capabilities, forming enterprise platforms and ecosystems, delivering innovation, groundbreaking customer solutions. We're equally excited to share our thoughts with you this morning about how to thrive in a post-digital e-commerce world. In 2020, we all experienced a global event that sent ripples across both our personal and professional lives. We learned a lot about the resiliency in our lives and the resiliency across our organizations, as we have to navigate and rapidly come to terms with a new global environment. As we all worked through it, new patterns started to emerge, which have now matured into clear global trends. All of our industries and enterprises were already experiencing a period of maturation, evolution, and various forms of disruption, which were only accelerated by 2020's Black Swan event. So what are we seeing? Today, we'll touch on 3 clear global trends as we shape what you can do now. First, we recognize that a fundamental and immutable shift in human behavior. Shifts in the consumer and employee behavior to utilizing digital channels while still expecting a seamless and frictionless experience everywhere. There's also an acknowledgement that the value of technology has changed and is a fundamental building block for our businesses and driving competitive advantage. When we say the words digital acceleration, we have to come to terms with the wave of modernization that this has triggered and the global implications of this wave. It must be real time, faster, automated, and data-driven. And finally, increasing investment in modernizing core systems and e-commerce platforms with a clear focus on delivering a better experience. As we talk to leaders within organizations such as those of this audience, the need for enterprise agility and resiliency have brought to the forefront more than ever how delivering a nimble technology infrastructure enables innovation all across our ecosystems. We look at this graph from Forrester. and focus on the headline of 10 years of growth in 3 months. As we dig into this slice, we also recognize that while it is a phenomenal story about the rapid growth of e-commerce penetration and the use of digital channels by consumers, it also tells the story of increased demand on ensuring that our e-commerce infrastructure can support the increased transaction volumes and interaction points. This chart speaks to digital transformations that are happening across all of our organizations of all sizes. When Shelley and I talk through these challenges and opportunities with business and technology leaders such as yourselves, another pattern has also emerged. Leaders are framing their transformations not simply as business, enterprise, or digital transformations, but as experience-led transformations. This goes beyond just putting customers at the center of all that we do. It speaks more to the context of the business outcomes that we are driving, being grounded on evolving the shopping experience, the payment experience, and ultimately the customer experience. Shelley, what do you think has caused this shift and increased focus on experience-led transformations?
What I'd say is that the customer is in the driver's seat and revenues are growing or shrinking based off of meeting or exceeding your customers' expectations. And, how is your experience differentiated in the marketplace compared to your competitors? And at Slalom, we saw that legacy technology was prohibiting our clients from delivering on the experience that their customers desired. And we responded by developing what we call the CX accelerator. How can you go to market with speed and be agile, considering the technology that you currently have in place? And so what we do is we run defined experiments to validate the customer value proposition, one that's going to drive growth and a path to commercialization. So think of it as these are experiments that are rapidly done to answer fundamental business value questions around desirability, feasibility, and viability. It's about agility and speed to market, and how it works is, I'll give you an example for one of our clients. We applied this approach to a global spirits company who wanted to pivot to a direct-to-consumer model during COVID. I'm sure that's something many of you are familiar with. And in 5 weeks, we stood up an e-commerce marketplace in one market to validate that the experience was differentiated enough. We learned what was actually driving a purchase, and we did that through driving a certain high-valued customer to the site, and learned from product curation, selection of delivery time, what was it going to take to drive commercialization. The experiment outcomes informed, what did we need to build? What technology did we need to have in place to support our go-to-market strategy, our supply chain, and our roadmap, really giving us confidence in this idea, and is it worth investing in? De-risking our investments. So how did we move this fast, which was, in 3 months, we applied Slalom's experience platform, and we took the existing .com site that already was out in the universe for a brand, and we decoupled the front end experience from the legacy back end, and this allowed us to stand up a front end experience at the same time having a back end that's in development, and having the front end experience inform the back end development in parallel. So the only technical requirement was to install JavaScript tag on the site. And this enabled us to do wide-ranging changes to the front-end digital experience without requiring legacy systems or consuming in-house technical resources. So the value in 3 months to our client was that we had to de-risk their investment, had confidence in how to accelerate their growth, and a validated path to commercialization, operations, and technology. Any questions from the group? I don't see any hands. I'll pass it back to you.
Thanks, Shelley. Once you've determined how to create a more nimble infrastructure, as Shelley walked through, looking at kind of through the lens of the customer experience, you then need to identify what are the digital experiences that you validated, what are the implications to your existing enterprise landscape, and ultimately, given the existing e-commerce architecture that you've got in place, the next step is to determine how best to integrate and automate your supporting e-commerce processes, as well as thinking through and laying out the groundwork and the path forward specific to the realities within your organization. As we continue the conversation with you today, this legal team is going to walk you through how their platform enables you to look at not only what the experiences that you've captured and validated through this customer experience acceleration concept or framework, but also how do you then tie that into the existing backend? How do you automate those processes? How do you integrate the capabilities to form your true platforms? And then through those platforms, deliver the seamless, frictionless experience that all of our customers are expecting and demanding. We truly appreciate the opportunity to connect with you this morning and to share our perspective. And we hope that you enjoy the rest of this summit and the panel that is upcoming.